Good morning, good morning, good morning. Buenos dias, mi gente. Yo. Welcome to Daily Discipline number 442. My name's Rob Hoback. Happy that you're here. Honored and humbled that you keep coming back like for reals. Hey, it's a hump day. Hump day. It's also January the 1st. Yeah, it's my godson Fred's birthday, so happy birthday, Fred. I've got a lot to do. I'm sure you do too, because it's a work day, so let's get to work. First things first, I'm still the realist. I'm also a goal setter. Yeah. I promised you guys that we were going to be a little more structured in 2020, which we are. So the first few daily disciplines here are going to be within the topic, the broader topic of having a success system, right? Like if we don't have a plan, like we're just going to be, it's the garbage bag floating in the wind, right? And sometimes, like me, we can get to a certain level in life by just not having a plan, just by our natural talents and abilities. But if we want to take the next step, we have to have a system, right? So number one in there, in my mind, is you got to have goals. You have to say, all right, so if we're going to write all this down and we're going to say we're going to do something, what are we going to do? So we have to write those down, right? So in goal setting, again, 1 year ago, our first video of 2019 was talking about SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. And so I felt like we did that with our goals last year. And an honest assessment, we're at about 80%, right? Which 80% gets you a B. I'm not interested in getting Bs. I want to have As. I can do better. And I'm looking forward. The other thing about goal setting is that you got to have, not only do you have to have SMART goals, but you have to share them with other people and then have some sort of an accountability, right? So anyway, I think we've discussed that at length. Write them down. They don't have to be perfect, right? Write them down, share them with somebody else, and say, hey, look, this is what I'm planning on doing this year. So moving on to my thank yous. My thank yous are to some great conversations I had yesterday. One of them was with my sister, Jen, right? And so she sent me a text saying, hey, thinking about you. We were able to FaceTime. We're talking about goals, and she said that for her, what works best for her, because everybody has to have a system that works for them, hers was to focus on one word, right? And so she hadn't decided what her word was going to be, but immediately I'm like, I know what my word for 2020 is. It's freedom. I need to work myself into a position where I'm free, right? And that's all I need to say about that. That I am then free to do what I want, when I want, with whom I want, right? I say who, I say when. And also I got to have a conversation with Gary Bennington, number 44. We talked about him yesterday, right? That it was amazing that episode number 44 was one of the top 10 viewed videos a year, in the following year. And I told him about how there have been a couple occasions where people that I know, or sometimes that I don't even know well, have mentioned to me that they started watching my YouTube videos and they saw that number 44 because it pushes it out, right? Like this, everybody likes this one. And, that just makes me happy. That makes me happy that people who don't know Gary Bennington know what a profound effect he had on my life. Love that guy. And I'm glad I got to chat with him yesterday. And so, I also was able to have a conversation with his son, his oldest son, Russ, right, who's been a big part of my life. And we'll talk more about that later. So, again, the main topic of today is goal setting, right? Of saying, hey, we got to do this. And some of us write things down. Other people just know. They don't need to write it down. It doesn't matter. Whatever works best for you. So, I was thinking about this, that I've always enjoyed New Year's Eve. It's kind of like just the way my mind works. I like to have clear lines, like when I'm doing my grass, I want to have good straight lines. I'm on the spectrum, for Christ's sake, right? I was thinking about this yesterday when I didn't want to go to the store and I wanted something to eat. So I had some mozzarella sticks and chicken nuggets and I cooked them. And then after I had to cook them, I had to line them up in lines before I ate them, right? So that ought to tell you something right there. Anyway, if you stop and think about it, calendars and time are man-made, right? Like a dog doesn't say, oh my God, on Tuesday we got to do this. A tree doesn't say, hey, like the rest of nature doesn't look at a calendar or time because it's man-made. However, because it's made by man, it kind of scratches the itches that we need. And I like it. It gives us a timestamp. It gives us a comparison point when we say, hey, this year compared to last year, which I do better. 2019 was way better than 2018 and 2017, right? Parts of it. There were other parts that were better too. So you just have to put it all in perspective. But understanding that because we have time, we have dates, let's use that to our advantage. Let's use those as tools to help us chase our best life. Let's live the best life that we have possible, right? I wanted to share a couple things with you around the same thing. One of them was an article I read this week about regrets, right? About setting goals, not achieving them, and then the regrets that come along with that. And there's two types of regrets. There's the short-term regret where we were going to do something and we tried something, it didn't work, and then there's short-term regret. Like, man, I messed that up. Nobody likes to make a mistake, right? But oftentimes, many of us, myself included, will take one small step and it doesn't work out exactly, and then we're like, all right, well, I tried. We didn't try hard, right? You didn't try hard enough that if somebody shoved your head underwater and said, you can, like, you're going to have to get out of here to do it, right? Like that is true passion. Otherwise, it's just like we're placating ourselves saying, oh, okay, right? Like I tried, right? Which then leads us to the big regret, which is long term. We look back like I should have tried harder. I should have tried, period, right? And it's very, very difficult for most of us, myself included, to wrap our head around that and be like, look, if you don't try this now, you'll regret this for the rest of your life. And you don't want to live with that regret, right? Again, frank and honest conversation with my sister yesterday. I'm like, look, I'm almost 50. I've generated enough income to where I should be free by now, but I wasn't disciplined. I hadn't disciplined my mind. I didn't know how to say no to myself, to where I said, no, you don't need that. Save that money. You're going to need it some other day because you're going to get tired of this job thing, right? Because you're going to find yourself in a job where you're like, I got some philosophical rubs over here. Not saying that that's me. I'm just saying I should have done better of saving my money so that when I got to a point where I'm ready to go out on my own, I'm prepared, and I'm not. So, and it sucks. It's kind of like paying your credit card bill, right? Like going and buying stuff on your credit card is a whole lot of fun, and playing with it, and then it breaks, and then you still got to pay the bill. That sucks, right? So there's the price of paying in there, right? Setting a goal will help us. Like, look, I really should do this. But it's, that article just reaffirmed everything that I already knew, right? That the biggest regrets we're going to have are the things that we didn't do, not the things that we did do, most cases. Then, one of the conversations I was fortunate enough to have yesterday was with number 44, Gary, his son, Russ, who's been a big part of my life. Russ, we were at his house last summer when we made the video about keeping it real versus being unrealistic. And, just in a text conversation with Russ yesterday, he shared with me that, something that he was doing with his son, race cars, that they decided that this was as far as they were going to take it. They were going to shut it down. They'd done it for a decade. It was no longer economically feasible. They want to do other things in their lives, blah, blah, blah. And whether he was thinking it or not, I felt compelled to say, like, at least you tried. And you didn't just try, man. You did a really good job. And you did a really good job with his older sister, his half-sister, your stepdaughter, to where you guys chased rodeos all over the United States. And you gave those kids memories. They knew that they could always count on you. That you gave them a basis. You helped them become champions, right? And maybe it wasn't the champion when you're on TV and it's the front. Who cares? You taught them how to be winners. You taught them how to grind, how to chase your passion. Those are things that they'll take with them the rest of their lives. Great job, Russ. Super proud of you. You inspire me, like for reals. The other thing is that, two other things is that, I've been listening to this audio book about going all in. It talks about how where we get in trouble is when we're bored, right? That if we don't have that passion, that thing that we say every moment that I'm not busy doing something that I must do, I want to spend all my time, my resources, my energy, my money on that. Exactly the way Russ and his family did with racing and barrel racing or whatever it was with the ponies with Lauren. Same thing, right? Like, be responsible, but also spend your time doing something that's productive, right? That brings joy to other people. And so I just thought about that when you don't have that, then we find ourselves in situations like then we're like, well, I'm bored. And then we start doing the things that we're like, yeah, I shouldn't be doing that. Like stress eating, sitting in front of the television, whatever it is, right? That we end up doing things that we know we shouldn't do, but we do them out of boredom. We got to keep ourselves busy, right? And then the last thing is that we just never know, right? We'll talk more about this when we get to the messengers part of, this year. But we will meet people who will come in and out of our life. Some people we think they're going to bring something, and then they like just peter off and go away. And then there's other people that you didn't expect anything to come out, and you're like, holy cow. And yeah, so I met a guy, and he's some sort of Indian, right? Like not like an American Indian, but like from India, from that part of the world. And he started up a conversation with me on an airplane. I believe this was in the summer, right? And we exchanged a couple text messages. And in the last month, he's reignited the conversations, saying, hey, I feel like there's something here. Let's do something together. And so, yeah, he started again yesterday. And so I shared daily discipline with him, and he was all excited. And so I guess the point is that we've talked about this before. Finding your people is really not that difficult, because if you're vibrating in the right way, those people will be attracted to you. And then you just have to get on the same page and go. So with that, I'm done for the day. Hands up, peace out, we're better together. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to talk more about having a plan. As a matter of fact, the notes I put, a goal without a plan is a wish. So make sure you come back tomorrow. We're going to talk about that then. All right. Have a great day. Deuces. Love you.